Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You've been playing Mario Maker for a while now, and feel that it's time for you to create your very own hardest level. Full of motivation, you get to work, putting in all your experience and knowledge, perfecting every sprite and every block, until one day, after weeks of hard work, it's finally done. Perhaps you then decide to make a splice clear video for it, which you post to Twitter. Everyone tells you how sick it looks, and wishes you good luck on the upload. What a wonderful day it is. But then, darkness. Fast forward a couple of months, and that level still sits in your core spot, uncleared. What happened? Time and time again, this story repeats itself. And even I have been guilty of doing this on more than one occasion. And because this phenomenon is so common, there have been numerous famous levels that have suffered this fate, with some of them having very interesting stories to them. I'm your host Catster, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the most legendary levels that never got to see the light of day. Noizo was a very prominent German player back in the 2016 to 2017 era, and even a member of the Kaiser Prodigies, which was a very prestigious team back in the day. And though he did beat lots of hard levels from other people, he was most well known as a creator. His style was very similar to the one of Panga. All levels in his Noizo's Health series were themed around a certain concept. Some more simple, such as the Boom of Doom, which was simply themed around bombs, and others more abstract, such as Deadly Reset, where the player must get through the path 3 times, with each run through being a little different. He stuck to this formula from as far back as 2015 to the beginning of 2017. This is when he began work on what would become his hardest level, Fiery Shells. After 208 hours of creation time, he had a finished product in his hands and shared it with the world, accompanied by Megalovania. The hype was real, and as everyone eagerly awaited the upload of the level, nothing came. Noizo had to put Fiery Shells on the back burner to focus on other endeavors, but he did make sure to always remind everyone that he hadn't forgot about it and that he would certainly get to work once he was done with some other, smaller projects. And just as he had said, he began the grind on his Twitch stream in early August of 2017. And at first, things were going as good as you could hope for, with him constantly getting new PBs. The whole thing was even documented on his YouTube channel in the form of stream highlights, with some fun moments thrown in there.
Here is my wonderful voice.
But then, things went south. As he struggled to make further progress, he grew increasingly frustrated before eventually quitting the grind at just 6 hours in, without even having made it into the subworld. Unsurprisingly, his fanbase was very disappointed and confused to hear this. After all, 6 hours really isn't a long time to be playing a level, especially if we're talking about a level as hard as Fiery Shells. And Noizo was experienced enough to know this. So why did he still give up? To answer this, we have to take a closer look at Noizo's personal views. Over the years, he had grown a disdain for many elements of modern Mario Maker Kaizo, such as a lack of originality and the overusage of certain tech, more specifically, the mid-air shell jump. And because of this, he came to the conclusion that Mario Maker was a dead game that was no longer evolving and that he needed to move on to SMW ROM hacks, which he thought to be the way forward. He was very open about this in the things that he wrote, and aside from that, you could also see that he just wasn't enjoying the game anymore. And this is the real story of how Fiery Shells never got uploaded, is what I would say if it weren't for a little man by the name of Mitch. With a myriad of impressive achievements under his belt, the now Mario Odyssey speedrunner was certainly built for the job of completing Noviso's legacy, and so he did. After a mere 3 hours, he managed to beat a just slightly nerfed version of the level and uploads it to his profile with the permission of Noviso. And that's where the level stands today. From one crazy shell level to the next, we move on to Experience of SMM by You, which was a serious contender for the hardest level of all time, as well as being the most ambitious shell level to ever be realized. To put into perspective how ludicrously difficult this level is, the closest thing to it would be Item Abuse 3, a ROM hack by Panga, specifically designed to only be beatable with tasks, and thus it is unsurprising that You couldn't even come close to uploading this monstrosity, even though he invested a good chunk of time into the grind. Nowadays, it's very hard to find information about Yu's journey, because a while ago he deleted all of his social media accounts, but I do recall seeing a progress video of his where he got to the subworld for the first time after roughly 60 hours. We're very lucky to even have the Splice Clear video for Experience of SMM, because if it weren't for me downloading the video while creating the history of SMM, it would have been lost forever. Finally, before we wrap things up, let's look at a montage of some other important levels that never got uploaded, some of which were suggested by Twitter.